Hi, my name is Carolyn Behrman. I'm a faculty member here in the Department of Anthropology at the University of Akron. I'm going to share some pictures with you in a minute on the screen share, but I just wanted to see you face to face for a second and let you know that the anthropology program at the University of Akron is an entirely undergraduate program that focuses our attention and energy on helping our undergraduates have strong research-based experiences across our undergraduate career. We emphasize skills and we emphasize community-based interaction and partnerships. So with that said, with you face-to-face, and also it's kind of nice to see the face of the person who's going to be talking to you, I'm going to switch my screen now to some pictures to show you a little bit about our program. So again, this is the Department of Anthropology at the University of Akron, and I'm Carolyn Behrman, and I'm a professor of anthropology. Anthropology, in case you don't already know, is the holistic study of human diversity and the application of that knowledge to help people from different backgrounds better understand one another. Holistic means that what we do in anthropology encompasses all that it means to be human, how we evolved, how we've adapted, and how we live. Anthropology tends to use the cross-cultural comparison technique as our key method for understanding human experience and human behavior. We'll talk a lot more if you major in anthropology about what that means, but to give you an idea, we break anthropology into 4 subfields. Those subfields: cultural anthropology, sometimes called social anthropology; physical anthropology, also known as biological anthropology; archaeology; and linguistic anthropology. Because the department here at the University of Akron is small and undergraduate focused, we focus on the first 3 of those subfields, and we get help from the English department with linguistic anthropology. A lot of what we do is hands-on, team-based, and problem-focused. This is in the classroom, where, as you can see in the lower slide here, lower photograph here, we have students working with microscopes, and this is an archaeologically focused class. On the upper photograph, that's me and a bunch of students, and we're actually part of a cultural research methods class. The students are learning about how to analyze information that they gathered from observations and interviews out in the community. Our classroom-based work sometimes leaks outside of the classroom. Here you can see a student, well, 2 students, eating their lunch while studying their forensic or physical anthropology. In this case, those are plaster or plastic casts of bones, not the real thing, but in the other slide, those are real bones, and those are 2 of our archaeology students at DIG. We have DIG relationships here in Ohio, in Summit County and elsewhere, but we also have opportunities for students not in the classroom anymore to participate in field research projects. Some of those field research projects connect classroom to community to individual student research. One of the examples of this is our wonderful and complex collaboration with faculty from the School of Communication, faculty from anthropology, students from both realms, and students from several other departments, where we studied the burials in Schneider Park here in Akron, and this has actually led to the production of The Forgotten Dead, a film by local filmmaker and University of Akron professor Josh Gippen, that has aired on the PBS of the Western Reserve. And in this project, students learned about the subsurface mapping of the burials in Schneider Park. They learned about the history of the burials in Schneider Park. They learned about the relationship between that history and the contemporary organization, the Center for Applied Trauma and Autism. I am hoping this sparks your interest because it was a fascinating, complex, interdisciplinary project, well worth your attention. In addition to that sort of complex activity that did earn students course credit, we also have course-based research that's a little more narrowly focused. These 2 photographs come from a project that looked at food and physical activity among urban elementary school students, and some of the data involved interviews and observations of the cafeteria, other parts of the data in observation of behavior on the playground. Sometimes the research opportunities for students reach further afield and outside the bounds of a specific course. Students undertake research with faculty, and sometimes they undertake research independently out in the field. These photographs are Schneider Park at the bottom, India, just above the Schneider Park photograph, and Turkey to the left of that. Data matter. data matter everywhere, and in anthropology, data matter a lot. The Schneider Park burials are represented in the slide that has the purple rectangles in it. Research conducted by faculty and students on the accessibility of food for people who are experiencing food insecurity is that center multicolored slide. The bottom slide is archaeological subsurface mapping from a very important project in southeastern Turkey. And the data on the right with the yellow ovals is independent advanced research by an anthropology student who was focused on how students of color, particularly African-American male students, succeed at university. So he focused on patterns that create success. Sometimes our undergraduate students get to present their research. All but two of the people in this photograph were UA undergraduates at the time. And this is their group photograph in Vancouver, British Columbia at the Society for Applied Anthropology meetings, where they presented data from 4 different research projects. Sometimes getting to present data from your research project takes you to beautiful, sunny Mérida, Mexico, where these 3 students went to present their findings and results in publication. These 3 students, along with 3 others, joined me in a research publication on that food insecurity and urban elementary school data. And that publication is a ticket often to being able to go on to graduate school. Bottom line is that anthropology and fieldwork in particular are not just important, they're fun. And we really enjoy what we do. I hope Jen's smile here gives you that impression. This is a former student of ours at the research site in Turkey before she graduated and went off to become a field archaeologist in New Mexico. Which brings me to the final part of this presentation. I wanted to give you a sense of what people do with undergraduate degrees in anthropology. These 2 young men, both graduates of our program, have gone on to careers that are connected to art. The guy on the left, Zaire, has recently graduated in May. He is now working for the Devil's Strip as both a reporter but also a photographer. And as you can see, he's an impressive photographer. This is one of his images on the right. The other young man is a graduate student in the University of Akron's program in arts administration. I have to tell you, Julian initially thought that he was going to go to Kent State University and get a graduate degree in forensic and physical anthropology. He shifted gears as a result of one of his experiences here at the University of Akron and chose arts administration. And he's now running a research project up in North Hill, collaborating on public art and urban elementary school. Sometimes, and this is an older example, our graduates go on in anthropology specifically. Andrew Bauer is an example of that. He finished at the University of Akron, and we were very impressed that he got into the University of Chicago's PhD program and finished and is now a faculty member at Stanford University in California. Similar success stories include Dr. Laura Santuri, who finished in her undergraduate degree here at the University of Akron, went on to get a master's in public health from Case Western Reserve, and is now a faculty member in Indiana. Also in Indiana, as it happens, not connected to Laura, we have the case of Daniel Corbin, and he's important for me to explain to you because he started his undergraduate experience as a classical guitar major. He took social science classes and realized that he wanted his undergraduate experience to give him a broader view of the world, and also he wanted to have more of an impact than he thought he would have through his music. So he, of course, continued his music. He's an amazing guitarist. But his work at the University of Akron in conflict management, political science, and anthropology led him to take on a year of Arabic training in Cairo, funded by the US government. And then he chose law school. And so Dan is now a lawyer. These 2 examples are also further complex and interesting, and I hope give you the sense that anthropology is a great foundation for the career you choose in many different ways. Angelica Lubienko was a student in anthropology, but also in applied math. When she finished her 2 undergraduate degrees, she asked herself, did she want to be an anthropologist who is able to mathematically model human behavior, or a mathematician who is able to mathematically model human behavior? She chose the latter, went for a graduate degree in math, and is now doing exactly as I said. She's a data scientist mathematically modeling human behavior. Very different, but also important. Maggie on the right. Maggie's probably the brightest student that I personally have worked with at the University of Akron. She is indeed holding a garbage bag there. She did her senior project on the impact of a waste transfer station on the health of an urban community. Her data was so important that, and statistically significant, that it had an impact on that community and on practices in the city of Akron. Very important data that Maggie gathered, carefully analyzed, and shared with the wider community. When she left, she was just not sure about graduate school. So she did something called woofing. If you're unfamiliar with woofing, you can look it up, but it's basically where Airbnb meets organic farming. And Maggie spent 2 years exploring organic farming and thinking hard about how she wanted to impact the world. She eventually settled on organic farming as a career. She bought land and created the Greenlight Farm in Wisconsin. You can visit Maggie there if you like. And then finally, I wanted to bring up one other former student. He's still here in Akron. Kirk Olmsted is the employment program manager and also works in grants at the University of Akron, at the International Institute of Akron here in Akron, an important more than 100-year-old organization that assists resettling refugees. Kirk has dedicated his time and his energy to this cross-cultural endeavor. With an anthropology background, he was perfectly suited to it, but Kirk is also an artist. And I think you can see here that his work is influenced by anthropology. I think you could probably see elements of forensic anthropology, but also or biological or physical anthropology, but also cultural anthropology in his personal artwork. Kirk is a great example of somebody who followed his passion and used his brain. My advice to all students is be guided by your passion and your brain. Margaret Mead, famous anthropologist's advice to everyone is never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. I hope that you will consider coming to the anthropology program at the University of Akron, following your passion, using your brain, and making the world a better place. If you have questions, you can contact me at this email address, the chair of our program, Dr. Erickson, at that email address, or our departmental advisor, Dr. Vineyard, and there is her email address. It's been nice talking with you. I hope to talk with you more personally in the future. I'm going to stop the screen share and say goodbye. Thank you so much for your time.